big crowd at the showgrounds last night for the meeting of Sligo Rovers and Derry City, who were without Stuart Gold and Liam Coyle. They've both requested transfers. When Rovers keeper Mark McLean overstepped the mark there after 11 minutes, it gave Derry City their first real chance. And that chance was taken efficiently by Paul Carlisle, who drove the resulting free kick low and hard into the back of the net. 1-0 to Derry City. Here we see the free kick again, well struck, right in the corner, and little chance for McLean. Well, Sligo were by no means deflated after that early Derry strike. They fought hard to get back on level terms. Gavin Dykes coming close on that occasion. Sligo Rovers' reward eventually did come in the 25th minute. Johnny Kenny here with a corner kick. And here's Brendan Aspinall getting up, connecting powerfully to head the ball past O'Dowd. 1-1. Delight for the Sligo Rovers supporters. Here we see the corner kick by John Kenny once again. Has to be a question mark, though, over Derry City's marking there at the back. Aspinall a free header, but he took it well. Well, Derry on the offensive here in the second half. Adrian Crean with the shot, but brilliantly saved by McLean. Well, Paul Curran here with the long ball forward for Derry City. Picked up by Moen just outside the box. He did well to set up Paul Doolan, whose shot just went off the post and cleared away by Sligo Rovers. A great run coming up here from Robert Brunton, who picked up Sandy Fraser's wayward pass. But his shot was parried away by O'Dowd. An excellent save by the keeper. Here we see the replay once again. A very determined break by Brunton. Good shot from well outside the area, but the keeper did well. Well, John Kenny had a chance near full time to take full points for Sligo Rovers, but his shot just went inches wide. 1-1 it finished.
Well, it's a wee bit like I nearly keep saying the same things every week, where we're playing quite well and not getting a reward for the play that we've had. Tonight I felt that we were slightly the better side, and their keepers made a brilliant save, and Paul Doolan hit the post and a couple of goal line clearances in the first half. But the way that they play, I mean, we spoke on Thursday night how dangerous they were from set pieces, and that's where we conceded the goal. And they are very dangerous from set pieces. But that was the only real threat that they posed tonight.
Well, we've been top before, and then you get knocked off the top. I mean, if we're top after the last game of the season, then I'd celebrate then. But it's a long way to go, and being at the top of the league at the moment, to be perfectly honest, doesn't mean too much to me.
Well, the situation is that Liam Coyle and Stuart are having discussions with clubs this weekend in the north. Pascal Vodican has withdrawn his transfer request, and he's happy to stay, and I'm happy to see him stay. We're now going to get on. I suppose there's been a lot said in the last week, and I suppose people outside Derry City Football Club would be very surprised and shocked by a lot of what's going on. Whereas the people who have been in the club have known that this had been brewing for a long, long time. And it was only a matter of time before finally the players have come forward and made their plans, you know, made people aware of what they want to do.
Yes, change is happening in Derry, and it will be interesting to see.
D 0, Shelbourne 0, Drogheda United 0, Cork City 1, Bohemians 0, Sligo Rovers 1, Derry City 1, Galway United 2, Athlone Town 2. The game between Shamrock Rovers and St Patrick's Athletic postponed. So Sligo Rovers are clear at the top of the table, but only by a point from Bohemians, St Patrick's Athletic and Shelbourne, although St Pat's have a game in hand. At the other end of the table, Athlone Town managed a point this week, but they still haven't won a game since mid-September. They now trail second.
Athletic at Richmond Park. Well, this was a game that promised much, with both Pats and Sligo Rovers playing well and right in the chase for the championship. As it turned out, it was by no means a classic encounter, but it certainly held the interest of the large crowd that turned up at Richmond Park for the full 90 minutes. Well, coming up, the first real chance of that first 45 minutes. This is John Glynn with the shot, and well saved by Mark McLean in the Sligo Rovers goal. Chances came at both ends, and this well-worked Sligo free kick was well struck by Robbie Brunton, but Gareth Byrne was well positioned to make the save. Liam Buckley and Martin Riley both threatened the Sligo goal in the first half, and Ricky O'Flaherty had a great chance after 32 minutes, but his shot well saved once again by the informed McLean. Well, Sligo did put the ball in the St Pat's net. 5 minutes later, Andy Ramage with the long ball forward to Tony Richards. The ball ending up in the back of the net. But unfortunately, from the Sligo point of view, that goal was disallowed when referee Dennis McCardle consulted his linesman. Handball was the verdict there. Well, Eddie Gormley is always likely to produce something special for St. Pat's, and that goal attempt brought the best out of Mark McLean, who was having a fine evening in the Sligo Rovers goal. Well, the visitors' approach at times was a little over-physical, and that contributed to their downfall last night in a game that produced numerous yellow cards and one red. That challenge by Andy Ramage on Eddie Gormley was far too dangerous for the ref's liking, and the Sligo Rovers full-back was immediately sent to the line. Rovers down to 10 men. Well, into the second half now, and coming up a super example for any coaching video of good goalkeeping in a one-to-one situation. Tony Richards put in the clear as he bore down on goal Gareth Byrne, readjusting and making his move at the perfect moment to pull off a fine save and averting what was real danger there. Good save by the Pats keeper. Brian Morris-Rowe replaced the injured Mark Mulroney in that second half, and he played a big part in the goal that decided the game. It was his initial break from midfield that set up Martin Riley. He laid it back to Morris-Rowe, and his deflected shot was pounced on by Ricky O'Flaherty, who outjumped everyone to give St. Pat's a 1-0 lead. It was an excellent break from midfield by Morris-Rowe, and when Martin Riley laid the ball back into his path, a good shot, deflected twice, and there was Ricky O'Flaherty to add the finishing touch. Well, Sligo did battle hard to get back into the game, but found it difficult to break down the Pats' defence. Darren Grogan at this half chance near full time. Slight confusion there in the Pats' defence. Byrne was again there to make the save.
Delighted with the victory. Sligo certainly made it hard for us, and there was a few loose tackles around in the game. We had a lot of lads there with knocks, but that's football at the top for you. You have to take it and get on with it, and I thought it was a deserved win for us. It was a great goal by Ricky, and delighted that we won the game in the end.
I thought that even with 10 men, we weren't the side that was holding on at the end. But that's the way football goes, and you can't win all the time. But very disappointing tonight.
A game of precious few chances at the showgrounds last night. Bohemians in the yellow had the better chances. Brendan Markey going close, but Mark McLean got down well to save. And then the goal that should have been. Mistakes across the Sligo midfield, putting Tony Cousins in the clear. His unselfish pullback found Paul McGee. All he found was the Sligo crossbar. McLean tidying up. An incredible let-off for Sligo. The ball bobbling at the wrong moment. The game's best chance was gone. In the second half, Sligo's best moment, a free kick, fell kindly for Dykes. Henderson saved well in a disappointing game.
Great game in Terryland Park last night, and a tremendous solo goal by John Kenny for all of Sligo to savour. A 60-yard run outstripped O'Halloran and Neary before beating Power from close in. Back came Galway though. Donny Farragher's long throw flicked on by Jerry Mullen and in off the head of Sligo's Gavin Dykes. On this Terryland surface, football is a pleasure, and back came Sligo. Ian Gilzine and Porrick Moran combining to set up Mark Kelly. Sligo then extended their advantage when Gilzine flicked on, and Porrick Moran's first touch made the finish look oh so easy. Galway's second half consolation was set up by Mullen and Mark Herrick. Gavin Dykes couldn't clear, and Ronan Killeen completed the scoring in an excellent match.
Last night was not for the faint-hearted. Eddie Van Boxtel retired after just 13 minutes to be replaced in goal by fullback John Cody. And Sligo, playing with a gale force wind, pressed home their advantage. Keith Long's attempted clearance only forced Cody into a half-hearted punch. And Steve Burke's shot came off Long's arm. The question is, was the handball intentional? Referee Joe Byrne thought so. Despite Dundalk's protests, it's hard to know how Long could avoid a shot from such short range. Just 4 minutes after going in goal, Cody had to face up to Robert Brunton's penalty. No contest really. That was Brunton's first goal of the season. Things got a little X-rated after that. Brunton and Matt Britton tangled for possession. But in came Keith Long, who clearly kicked Brunton, and that led to a ridiculous free-for-all, with most players trying to break things up, and a few intent on making matters a whole lot worse. Correctly, Long was booked by the referee, and there could have been several other names taken in an incident that had tension with a capital T written all over it. The intervention of Ian Gilzine, and Joe Gallen was particularly over the top. Back to the game, and Dundalk profited from the high ball. Joe Hanrahan's free kick found McDoohan. Joe Gallen was quickly onto the loose ball. No foul on Mark McLean in the Sligo goal. Then David Crawley's long ball found Doohan in isolation. Sligo saved by the frame of the goal. And then, would you believe, some good football from Sligo. Gilzine with the cushion header, and John Kenny with a strike that deserved better. Gilzine's follow-up was saved by Cody. But the stand-in keeper made a complete mess of his clearance. It rebounded off Gilzine, who then fouled Cody, relieving the danger for Dundalk. The question is, did the ball cross the line before the free kick was given? The replay would suggest it did. Whatever, Sligo weren't to be denied, and 5 minutes later Gavin Dykes found Gilzine, and he made no mistake. 2-1 to Sligo. Gilzine more than pleased with his 7th league goal. Though you'd have to wonder if Dundalk will go into their next match without a goalkeeping substitute. Would Eddie Van Boxtel have saved this shot? Into the second half, and Dundalk came back again. Crawley's free kick falling kindly for Doohan. He couldn't really miss from that range. But again, Sligo weren't happy. Didn't the ball come off Gallen's arm? But was it an intentional handball? Have a look at the replay and decide for yourself. The man in black certainly thought it wasn't a free kick. With 7 minutes to go, Sligo must have thought they had the points wrapped up. The ball breaking kindly for Gilzine, who made no mistake from a tight angle. Steve Cotterell's side ahead for the 3rd time, thanks to some great skill from the Sligo striker. In this roller coaster of a match, Dundalk weren't to be denied. Brian Byrne's cross only half cleared to Hanrahan, and there was Gallen to make it 3-3 with the deftest of headers. The champions showing all of their fighting qualities in getting a point. Gallen in great goal-scoring form, but the intensity of the exchanges got to Steve Cotterell after the final whistle. Keeley and Gavin Dykes keeping him from venting his anger on the referee.
Shades of 1983 all over again at St. Coleman's Park as these two great clubs renewed sporting rivalry. Chances aplenty in the opening half in front of a fair-sized and enthusiastic attendance. It was Aspinall here with the precise ball setting up Jim Mulligan, and really just the width of the goalposts, saving Ramblers, but the muscular Ian Gilzine was on hand to further illustrate his prowess in front of goal. Cove were on terms almost immediately. From the left-sided throw, Sligo looking less than assured in the air, and Tommy Tregold's looping header drawing the brushes from goalkeeper Mark McLean. 1-1, and Cove fully deserving of their goal. There were openings at either end in a lively first 45 minutes football, and the impressive Mulligan should have had Rovers ahead once again here, but didn't. On the night, Mulligan really did look impressive. Midway through the second half, in a curious piece of Ramblers defending, it resulted in a wayward clearance by an otherwise excellent Philip Long, facing towards his own end line and goal post. Gilzine, wide on the right-hand side, couldn't believe his luck or the porous nature of Cove in front of their own posts. Should have been 2-1, but it remained level as Sligo had a man in offside position. Then, 7 minutes from time, it was Brunton who initiated the move from which the Premiership side earned passage to the next round of the cup. Mulligan and Moran were causing the consternation, and you know who got his 2nd goal on the night.
In the showgrounds last night, a disappointing match produced little to keep the fans' minds off the numbing cold. James Mulligan was Sligo's main culprit, twice failing to find the target when good chances presented themselves early on. The worst miss for Sligo followed good work by Robert Brunton and Ian Gilzine. John Kenny blazing over when Shelbourne's goal was at his mercy. Shelbourne had battled through snow and ice to make it to the showgrounds, and they should have gone behind when Kenny's pass set Mulligan away. But again, Alan Goff wasn't needed as he shot wide. The second half continued the trend. Greg Costello dithered, and Martin McDonald pounced to force Goff into making an excellent save. All those Sligo misses proved costly. Midway through the second half, Tony Sheridan wriggled into space, Gary Howlett helped it on, and Stephen Gagan finished with a flourish. A marvellous goal, typical of the kind of strike Shelbourne have been producing all season. Frustration for Sligo, but for Gagan, his 12th league goal keeps him top of the scoring charts, something to warm the Shelbourne supporters. The only riposte was a long-range effort from John Kenny, but like most of Sligo's shooting, it sailed over, leaving Sligo adrift in the title race.
Well, Ryle will be here in a few minutes.
Derby over, they came in their thousands to the Brandywell tonight to see one of Derry's biggest home wins, severely denting Sligo's championship ambitions in the process. Thomas McCallion was the hero, playing only his second game for the club. The diminutive Northern Ireland youth international scored a hat-trick, the first two coming in 7 first-half minutes to put Derry very much in the driving seat. The layback from McCourt, and watch this for a finish. Mark McLean had no chance. At the start of the second half, Peter Hutton's run looked menacing until Ian Lynch's flying elbow caught McCallion on the way through. And the referee had no choice but to send the Sligo Rovers centre-back off. From there to the end, it was all Derry City. 2 goals in the last 17 minutes. The first, Harry McCourt's really, though it has to go down as an OG. McKeever laid it wide, cross came in, McCourt's header saved, and Robert Brunton, the unfortunate defender, with the own goal. But the hat-trick goal from McCallion was well worth waiting for. One of the goals of the season so far in the National League. McKeever with the ball outside to McCallion, nothing seemed on. He skipped past Aaron Grogan, and what about that for a chip? A superb hat-trick. A new star is born in the National League. Watch out for him, Thomas McCallion. Derry 4, Sligo Rovers 0.
It's everybody here in the studio.